rule is we have two numbers with different signs. We subtract and keep the sign of the larger. Here, though, if we subtract, we get 0. What sign do we always apply to 0?
0 with a slash through it.
0 with a slash through it? Yeah, 0 doesn't have a sign. It's neither positive or negative, right? I mean, it's right there in the middle of the number line, so it's just 0. There is no opposite of 0. You'll notice there's not 2 zeros on your number line. It's just 0, right? It's neither positive nor negative. All right, let's look at the next one. Of course, I threw in fractions, all right? What's my rule for fractions? What do I have to have here? I have to have a common denominator. All right, so that's what I'm going to do for this one. Between 2 and 3, what is my common denominator? 6. I need to multiply this guy right here by 3, top and bottom. I have to multiply this one by 2, top and bottom. I'm trying to get my denominators the same. So negative 1/2 becomes negative 3/6. Positive 4/3 becomes positive 8/6, right? Two numbers with different signs. I subtract and keep the sign of the larger. All right, so I have two numbers with different signs. I'm going to subtract 8 minus 3. That's going to give me a 5/6, and I'm going to keep the sign of my larger. My larger was the 8, so it's a positive 5/6. And then, of course, decimals. What's my rule about decimals? What do I do when I add and subtract them? I line them up. So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm adding here. Are they the same sign or are they different signs? Same sign. So I am just going to add and keep the sign. So I have 4.6 and 3.3. Add my decimal line first, then this guy here, right? And what was my original sign since they were the same? Which means this has to be negative as well. Now my rule for subtraction is adding the opposite, right? I do not have rules for subtraction. I have rules for addition. So I use the definition of subtraction so I can use my addition rules. So I'm going to change this to adding the opposite. Now I have different signs, right? I have a negative 2 and a positive 3. So I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger. 3 minus 2 is 1. Which one was greater, my positive or my negative? So my answer is positive. All right, what do I need here? I need a common denominator. The first thing I'm actually going to do here before I even worry about it is change this to adding the opposite, because this is going to make this an addition problem. That's just adding positives. So I'm going to change this to adding the opposite. So I have two positives here. Either way, I need common denominator. What is my common denominator between 6 and 5? It's 30. So I need to multiply the 6 by what? 5. I need to multiply the 5 by, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 5 here and top and bottom by 6 here. So I have 3 and 25/30 plus, because it's adding the opposite, right? 42/30. So here you're going to have to reduce one way or the other. So you can either reduce at the very end, right? You can reduce right now to do a mixed number. It doesn't matter which way, but you're going to have to eventually reduce this guy so that you have your correct answer. So if we go ahead and just add it, think about the fact that there is nothing in front of this, so we are going to add just a 3. You can line them up too, so if you prefer going vertically with these, you can. All right, same thing. 3 and nothing, right? And we're going to figure this out in a second. 25 and 42, what is that? 67/30. So here we have a problem, right? I don't mind if you have an improper fraction or a mixed number. You can't have both, right? We can't have a mixed number with an improper fraction. That just does not make any sense at all. So you need to change this guy out to a mixed number pretty much. All right, so think of it this way. We have 3 plus 67/30. That's actually what a mixed number means. That's what a mixed number is. You're actually adding a whole number and a fraction, putting them together. So if I simplify the 67/30, how many times does 30 go into 67? 2. And how many will I have left over? 7/30 plus 3. So then I can just add my whole numbers here. 5 and 7/30. All right, that's one way to do it. You could have changed this guy to improper fraction and done it at the end, but you would have really big numbers to divide by 30. You could have changed him to a mixed number, but you still would have had to do that same process because you would have had yet another improper fraction when you did that one. So I leave it alone and I actually change it down here at the end to get my final answer. Question. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is add the opposite because that's what my rules are. So I'm going to say this is adding the opposite. Don't forget, you need to line up your decimals. All right. 6 and 6 is 12. Make sure you pull this decimal down right here. Carry your 1. 6 and 3, 9.2. All right. I really think the easiest thing to do is change everything to addition because then you can do it in whatever order you need to. All right. So if I change this all to addition, I leave the first one alone. Never change the first guy. Whatever he is, he stays. Okay. After that, if I have a subtraction, I'm going to change it to adding the opposite. So this is adding a -5, and this is adding a +3. So then I can see my positive and negatives pretty clearly. -4 plus -5, same sign, right? Because I'm combining those. And then I have a +3. And then I can use my rule, right? Different signs. So I'm going to subtract. And then I'm going to go back and see which one was bigger. My negative was bigger, so my final answer is -6. All right, once again, change this all to addition. Adding the opposite. We don't touch the first one. This is already adding. Don't bother it. If it's already adding, leave it alone. And then this is going to be adding the opposite as well. So again, we can easily see our negative numbers. We have a -2 and a -2, which is -4, a +7, and a +5, which is +12. Subtract. 12 minus 4 is 8. Which one was larger, my positive or negative? So my answer is positive.